Hi everyone, Sean Smith from Don't Test My Ability again, and today I want to talk about the parenting trap and wondering if your kids are fixated on asking for electronic devices all the time. Are they constantly asking you to watch TV, to play video games, and then when you give them a little bit, does it never seem like it's enough? It's just one more show, one more second, and then it seems like a fight to get them off. Well, I want to share a few strategies to help set everybody up for success. And so a lot of times you're going to find yourself saying no. And this is problematic because no for a kid with ADHD and ODD don't really jive that well together. So it's not about saying no. It's about creating structure, consistency, and routine. So it's not saying no, you can't have it now, but it's showing them when they are able to have it later. So one of the things that I encourage people to do really is to set up some type of structure so that the kids know when they're allowed to play or go on their device. Because if you're constantly saying no, it's too abstract in their mind. So they're going to keep at you until they have something concrete. But by that time, you're already exhausted and you're emotionally and physically drained. So by structuring the day so that they know what's happening and when, then you've identified when that screen time is. It's not you saying no, it's you structuring it so that they can look at the schedule for the day or the calendar and they see exactly when that time is. So every time they ask you, can I play video games or can I go on my device to watch Netflix, Crave, whatever it may be, you say, you tell me. Please go to the schedule and let me know what time you're allowed on there. Now, I will also say that if you don't have things structured leading up to or after the screen time, that's also going to be problematic because they're going to want to stay on there for as long as possible. So you need to structure, ramp up so that you're keeping them busy and then they go on and then you're transitioning to something else. Now, I've also worked with some families where they have, friends over, everything's going well, that friend leaves, and then all of a sudden the child becomes fixated on their go-to, which is going to the electronic devices. So again, structuring the time accordingly so that they know when they're allowed to go on the device. So that way you're not constantly saying no, because every time you say no, you're going to butt heads, right? And then nobody really wins. You get frustrated, you get annoyed, then we say and do things that we don't necessarily mean, and they will too, but they're kids, and this is part of the expectation, right? We know they're in fight or flight mode, right? They become hyper focused on this one thing, and they're going to say or do whatever it takes in their mind to get on there. So they may try different strategies, and I'm sure a lot of you can attest to this. They're going to run the gamut. So they might start off being mean and saying nasty, hurtful things, and then that doesn't work. And so then they'll come back a little bit later, and next thing you know, they're super cuddly, and it's like nothing happened. And when you say no, they can't understand why it's no, because they were nice, they were polite, although it doesn't excuse the behavior from before. Likely it's not even acknowledged by the kid. And when we try to do it, sometimes that acts as a trigger. But again, we still need to hold these kids accountable. So again, it's framing the day and structuring the day so that we're not saying no. There's a designated time for when that screen time is allowed, and sticking to that and putting the onus back on the kid, right? If they ask us again and again and again, I really encourage parents or grandparents not to say no. A lot of what these kids hear is the word no. So by you structuring it and talking to them and putting it into the day for a certain amount of time, it's not you saying no, it's saying, go back to the calendar and you tell me when you're allowed to go on. And then if they say, well, it's not supposed to be for an hour, okay, then you answered your own question. And that's the end of it. Keep it short and concise. The more you try to rationalize or justify your choice or decision, you're opening the door up for an argument. You need to keep your message short, concise, and to the point. I also compare it to, coming up with a company line, right? So if you think of, there's an oil spill and different news stations are calling the company to say, do you have any comment? Do you have a comment on this? Well, the person who answers the phone is likely going to say no comment and direct them to whoever they should be speaking to. Well, you need to come up with the same type of comment. It needs to be short, concise, and to the point. And you need to stick to that, and you need to repeat that to them over and over again every time they ask. Because if you offer a slightly different answer and you can change one or two words, that opens the door for them to kind of get in. Well, you said this before. And again, you'll kind of kick yourself in the butt when you've done this, because they're going to call you out on it every time. Because it's almost like fight or flight mode. They're grasping at straws, right? They're trying to get their need met in a socially inappropriate way. So in order to help them out, which is also going to help us out in the long run, is by structuring that time in the day for them. Again, I'm not going to say that this is easy. It can be very frustrating. It is emotionally and physically draining, but by framing the day a little bit differently to show them when they can go on, as opposed to constantly saying no, is going to help everybody in the house a little bit, right? Small changes. That's all it takes. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care.